merci de m'avoir invité de faire partie de cette année, l'édition du Paris Luxury Summit. Je m'appelle Morin Oluwole et je suis la Global Head of Luxury pour Facebook et Instagram au sein de l'entreprise depuis 14 ans. Cette année, surtout cette année folle, Facebook a travaillé en étroite collaboration avec nos partenaires pour construire une vision stratégique et personnalisée, notamment afin de les accompagner pour restimuler leur activité et de renforcer leurs relations avec leurs clients. C'est une année qui nécessitait beaucoup d'innovation, beaucoup d'agilité et beaucoup de flexibilité. Et notamment, je suis très contente aujourd'hui d'inviter Dominic Weir, le Chief Digital Officer d'IWC, la marque d'horlogerie du groupe Richemont, qui va nous partager sa vision de la créativité et notamment l'agilité que l'entreprise a su mettre en œuvre cette année 2020, l'année folle. Dominic, it's a pleasure to have you. Thank you for joining me to share your experiences with IWC, notably in this quite interesting and dramatic year. How are you?
Hello, Morin, and thank you very much for the invitation. I'm very looking forward to speaking with you today.
Perfect. Now, Dominic, so we have with us today some key leaders and stakeholders in the luxury sector, of which you're an expert, of course. And I wanted to just take some time to have a conversation with you as to how IWC has addressed this intense year and also how you're looking toward the future as well. Now, as we know, stores were heavily closed for much of 2020. We'd love to hear from you how IWC relied on your agility and also really worked to orchestrate this transition that we've seen to e-commerce.
Certainly, and it's a really good question. And you know, it hasn't been an easy year for anybody. I think the key is that everybody has been in very much the same situation. So customers were naturally quite understanding of the boutiques being closed, and this sort of predicament opened up the field for innovation. And IWC has been for many years now an innovator, specifically in digital. And so we were in a perfect position really to take advantage of this, I guess, shift further towards digital and enable our innovation channels through our boutiques as well as through our online store. And so what we did was we tried to understand what the customers were expecting of us and what they needed in order to feel secure and provide them with service. And we innovated a number of services such as the telephone and video-based selling ceremonies, as well as virtual boutiques and augmented reality try-on. And a lot of these were sort of MVP projects that enabled us to understand whether they delivered value to our customer base. And they were all pretty successful in many respects. But I guess it's just that sort of that ability to adapt and keep changing based on the needs of the customer is what has really steadied us in good faith with our customers, but also enabled the business.
Thank you for sharing that. And as you said, it really has been a challenging year for many brands. Now, you mentioned quite a bit as to how you adjusted to provide the right service to your clients. And now, as we know, clienteling is a key aspect of your client engagement strategy. And we've seen this at work, for example, with the launch of the Portuguese experience on Messenger this year. Can you share more about how you think about and how you reflect on the evolution of your one-on-one clienteling strategy?
Yeah, I mean, without going into too much detail, I think the first point is really to focus on the needs and expectations of the customer and being able to listen to them at the various touch points, understand what their expectations are, and then deliver against those expectations in a luxury and a beautiful way in keeping with the identity of the IWC brand and our position in the watch market. And so interestingly enough, the Messenger tool was fascinating because when we started the project, it was early in this calendar year. I mean, we'd been discussing it a little bit before that. But the plan was always to build a tool that helped to educate our customers about the new collection that we were launching and take them through this selling ceremony that we had developed in store, but obviously translated to a chatbot experience. and then drive them to a boutique appointment. Now, the challenge there was that by the time we'd completed the project, all the boutiques were shut effectively. So we had to pivot a little bit on the strategy there and provide additional content and engagement in the chatbot to augment the experience, and then ultimately set the boutique appointment date at a later date. But it was fascinating to see the engagement that we had, the kinds of comments, and the fact that the customers, they know that this is a chatbot, but they also relish and enjoy the experience if it's crafted well. So that was, that was a highlight. And, going forward, it's just very much about understanding the needs of the customer and being able to translate the brand into the experience in a meaningful way, that it's not banal.
Now, this focus on a rich experience, especially an experience that's unique to the consumer, I think it's one of the reasons why this project has worked so well and been so pertinent to your business, especially in this quite pertinent year. Now, as we look toward the future, it's the beginning of December now, and as we look toward the new year, I would love to hear from you some of your reflections, notably on how IWC thinks about this ongoing changing landscape. Of course, I'm not asking you to share any proprietary secrets, but I think your insights on what will change, what may also remain the same, would be quite valuable to hear.
Certainly. And, what's fascinating about this is that it's constantly changing. And so, what works today may not work tomorrow. And that's kind of fascinating in its own way. So really focusing on the needs of the customer is the only way that you're going to be able to deliver them the best service. What's certain is that certain habits that were formed during the last 12 months or 10 months, 11 months, will stick. And so what we will see is that yes, customers will continue to use digital channels more and more as a means of educating themselves and engaging with the brand. But I think that results in us understanding, because there's more information coming from the customer and feedback about their needs, to enable us to develop new and interesting and fascinating ways of engaging with them. We're in the luxury goods industry, so part of what we do is sell irrational products. These are not rational decisions that many of our customers are making. So how can we use technology in a way that is going to excite them, engage with them, and ultimately augment that experience that they will ultimately have in an e-commerce experience or in the physical boutique. And that's where things like chatbots, artificial intelligence and stuff like that is going to help us to scale that experience across different channels.
Thank you, Dominic. And it's fascinating how a brand like IWC at 155 years old, it's still able to adapt, it's still be able to be agile, especially in this changing environment. And we're very pleased to work with you and your teams and our creative shop teams to create this Portuguese messenger experience, because it was very much relevant, especially in the time of the lockdown, to have a messenger experience where people could discover the collection and even book appointments to in boutiques as well.
Absolutely, and thank you very much to the team. It was one of the highlights of the year, working with you guys to get that off the ground, and we're looking forward to future collaborations. Perfect.
Thank you again, Dominic. We have a really strong partnership that we look forward to developing for the future. And thank you for being a part of this Paris Luxury Summit experience.
Thank you very much.